Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We hear many times here in the West, in the free world, so-called, that Putin is the dictator. And Putin imposes his will to the Russian people, and they are enslaved. And the sooner the Russian people pick up their pitchforks, and torches to go to the Kremlin and pull a Gaddafi on Putin, the better for the whole world. According to the Ukrainians, they had a poll of opinion in Russia regarding how many Russians support the war, and it says against Ukraine. And I will share that with you. Now that poll, I don't think it's about war against Ukraine, but it's the war against the guys behind Ukraine. But hey, this comes from the Institute for the Study of War, a lying think tank, I'm saying. Or maybe not lying, but it is lying if you just lie by omission and you reach the wrong assessments and conclusions by ignoring facts that would derail your desired narrative. That's not an institute for the study. That is a propaganda tool. The other article that I'm going to discuss here comes from, again, the Ukrainians, who tell us that actually the vast support, the massive Russian people's support for the war against Ukraine is because this DNA attribute. I will share that with you. I know it's politically incorrect here in America to say that someone has a, laziness, DNA something. No, you can't say that, or anything like that. Nevertheless, we talk about epigenetics. Now, epigenetics, if I don't forget by the end of this video, I will explain if epigenetics works, that means the people who were made to work hard, they should have it inside of their DNA, should be the working machines. Well, I don't know about that one. So, the third one, we find out who tries to prevent peace in Ukraine. Who do you think that is? It comes from an island. No, that's not Taiwan. All right. And the last one, did you know that the Polish Prime Minister, Mr. Donald Tusk, tried to conduct a coup d'etat in Poland, über niemals? Do you know that? Well, I'm going to give you details on that one. So, the Polish democracy is not a democracy. We have Donald Tusk trying to overthrow the president of Poland. Oy vey. I wonder who's behind they. All right, let's start with the first article. Comes from Ukraińska Prawda. This is from Friday, the 7th of February 2025. Poll in Russia shows high public support for war against Ukraine. Institute for the Study of War reports. Now, democracy means the rule of the people. All right, like the people rule. Demos means people. So it's something that the majority should rule. So if you have a majority of the people in one country that say we should develop nuclear weapons, that should not run against the policies, the policies of your government, if we have a democracy. Like, for instance, if we have United States of America, yes, the cat. If we have in the United States of America an overwhelming popular support for Israel's actions in the Middle East, right? Then obviously the government, the Trump administration, should promote that. Oh, you say that's not so? So that means the elected officials over there are not doing what the demos wanted? You got it. It's only a, a pretense, my friend. It's only a game. It's only a matrix. So here you have this support in the Russian population for the war against Ukraine. It's not against Ukraine, actually, but they try to make it that way. It's against the guys who want to destroy Russia through Ukraine. Who are those? The interest, the economic, financial interests that harnessed the Americans to take care of this beautiful globe. All right, let's see what the poll says. Now, the Lady of the Night dancing poll. Despite mounting economic hardship, no, I don't think that's accurate description. And military setbacks, I don't think that's an accurate description of reality. But hey, let's move on. A Russian state poll, like the Russians, they're lying, okay? Claims that the most of the population supports the war against Ukraine. However, analysts because they're from anal list, at the Institute for the Study of War, question the reliability of these findings. Now, let me tell you how reliable Institute for the Study of War is in a nutshell. There is an operation organized by a tribe, and the tribe is the same one, the perpetual victims. In charge of that is Miss Kimberly Kagan from Kaganovich. Go in the Soviet history and find out who Lazar Kaganovich was. Yeah, he destroyed about, 8 million Ukrainians in the Holodomor, but hey, we know it was Stalin, not Kaganovich. So, go and see the Kimberly Kagan. She's married with another Kagan, with Mr. Kagan. Mr. Kagan has a brother, another Mr. Kagan, who's married with Miss Victoria Nuland. Oh my God, all of these guys are playing for the same team. What's the team? You figured it out. So all these guys are from this Institute for the Study of War. Or you can say, what's wrong with that? Personal assessment of Institute for the Study of War did it for me in, I think it was in April 2022, when this guy started featuring Institute for the Study of War, and they said about that little attack, the attack on, I can't remember, the little barracks where the Ukrainian prisoners were held. It was in, I can't remember the name of the town. I don't want to say, I can't remember. I don't want to say it. It was in April or May 2022. And the Institute for the Study of War made some studies that were very contradictory to their own statements, the studies. Okay, so let's see. Well, this is what the guys continue. So Institute for the Study of War is as reliable as the weather man. So here we have 67% of the Russians support the war against Ukraine, while 65% believe that the fighting is going well for Russia. Oh, these guys are just baboons, aren't they? Let's see what's going on here. You see this? This comes from the New Voice of Ukraine. So from the Ukrainians. War of attrition is in Russia's DNA. Supposedly, the Trump envoy says, stop the killing first and talk peace in Ukraine. So these guys from the New Voice of Ukraine, right there, they make the claim that the Russians have it in the DNA. Therefore, you can't, they just warlike machines. Well, why is that? I would like to know. Did they find a gene that does that? Of course they don't. But they just try to make it that you can't change it. It's just evil, but we don't know. It's, how they call it, irrational evil. Like, why are you it's an irrational, whatever that is. So, let me tell you about the epigenetics. Epigenetics, supposedly, they claim, go and read it. I'm just going to give you a very easy explanation. I'm not going to be too deep in that. I don't know much about it. I know how much I need to know about it. So, through behavior, let's say I am here and I eat certain kind of food. Blah, 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 blah. Now, those proteins attach to your DNA, and change certain things in you. And then you transmit that to your offspring, including, let's say, in my life, I like, and I'm again involved in an artistic endeavor. I'm a painter. Now, these kind of activities supposedly attach to you on your DNA, and then you transmit it. Like, for instance, in the past, when you say, oh, he's a good athlete, what were your parents? That were some of the questions I was asked. And you say, well, my dad used to play volleyball, and my mom used to be a gymnast, and that's why you're a good athlete. Oh my God, nowadays you can't say that. But if that's the way it works, I want to ask you this. If you have a person, a slave, let's say, and that slave is beaten up and works hard, and shouldn't that behavior also attach to the person's DNA? Therefore, their offspring will have that in their DNA, so you don't have to whip them anymore. They're going to work like working machines? According to this, yes. But we don't have that, do we? I mean, we were all slaves at one point. Our ancestors, weren't they? And some of us are a little bit different than others. Anyway, my point is here, if we go by this as being true, I think this is very racist to say that. Next one. United Kingdom trying to prevent peace. This is according to Ukrainian MP, not to the Russian, all right, Ukrainian. And here it is, Foreign Secretary David Lamy's goal. Now, when I saw this guy, the first time I said, Great Britain will lose. Will lose, and their foreign policy, the diplomacy is going to be dead. Why? When I saw that guy and I listened to him a few words, I said, okay, you are unprepared for the job. You do not have the epigenetics to do that. I'm just kidding. So what's going to happen? The guy is lame, as Lamey says in his name. There you have Lamey. In Kiev was to derail efforts to resolve the conflict, Alexander Dubinsky has claimed. It doesn't mean that this guy is right, but the evidence that I collected during the past, almost 3 years indicate that not Lamey, but these guys really want to get going. These are just the house servants of Al Capone, not the slaves in the field picking up sugarcane, cutting. Not that. These are just the house servants, but they're still slaves, but they stay in the house. They think are better than the other ones. Uppity, is that how we call it? Uppity. UK Foreign Secretary David Lamy's recent visit to Kiev was an attempt to disrupt potential peace negotiations with Russia on the settlement of Ukraine conflict, according to jailed Ukrainian MP Alexander Dubinsky. He's jailed. That means he was a Russian asset, correct? As this indicates right here, is just a lie, man. These guys are telling us that this 67 is just a lie. Why? Well, no, because it doesn't match their narrative. Britain's Foreign Secretary visited Kiev on Wednesday and announced a further £55 million, $68.7 million in financial aid from the British people, because I heard that you guys over there in Great Britain have everything solved. You have no poverty. You all drive, Jaguars and Land Rovers. Oh, they're not owned by you anymore. Oh, maybe you have Bentleys. Do you guys own that anymore? Or the Indians are, the real Indians are owning that? Or the Chinese, all right? You're fucked up, that's what it is. So you have money to take from your children because your schools are all clean with big windows so the children can learn. Everything is great in Great Britain, I heard. The name says it, so it must be true. God damn it. So, all right, let's see what's going on over here. According to him, to this guy, Lamy's urgent visit to Kiev, as well as Vladimir Zelensky's urgent interview with British media, were necessary to prevent a peaceful settlement, end quote, and to discredit a US-backed push for a ceasefire being led by President Donald Trump and envoy for Ukraine and Russia, said Kellogg. This is Keith Kellogg. And I'm quoting, what is needed for this? An urgent counteroffensive. I believe Zelensky has been brought his plan. Okay, well, what can you do? What's going with this guy doubling an opposition lawmaker? So this is the guy. He's an opposition lawmaker who has been held in custody since November 2023 on a litany of charges, including high treason. Oh, he's a that guy right there. Great Britain is great. So right there. Claimed on his Telegram channel on Thursday that the actual purpose of Lamy's trip was to disrupt a nascent peace process. So I don't understand this thing. Telegram channel. Do you remember that guy called, what the hell was his name? Navalny, Putin's nemesis, supposedly, with less than 1% approval rating in Russia. He was the guys with 80-some%, the nemesis. Again, mass media can create whatever mirage they want. That guy was also in they said it's in, a colony, and where people die over there and so on. He was still accessing Twitter while in the colony or something. He was still communicating with people, and they will call that a gulag. Now, if you read about a real gulag, you didn't have Twitter or you didn't talk to people. You were over there, worked to death. So again, this guy has Telegram channel access. Maybe I'm just a bad person, more or less. So let's see what these guys are saying about the Polish coup d'etat. Russia Today, 6th of February, I was about to say 8. Polish Prime Minister faces coup d'etat charges. So Donald Tusk, he doesn't like democracy, I think. Poland Constitutional Tribunal chief has accused Prime Minister Donald Tusk of attempting a coup d'etat and has announced legal action. It's okay. As long as he follows the orders of foreign agencies, he's going to be a-okay. But Poland's Constitutional Tribunal chief, he will have a heart attack, probably a little stroke or a little accident or natural causes death, I suspect. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has been charged with attempting a coup d'etat. The president of the country's Constitutional Tribunal announced on Wednesday. In a televised statement, Bogdan Swiatkowski alleged, I like that word, alleged, he said it, that Tusk's administration has been acting illegally to dismantle Poland's judicial system. Actually, he's a communist, so what do you expect? which he claimed constitute an attempt to overthrow the constitutional order. Svichkovsky, a former national prosecutor and close ally of the previous Law and Justice government, was appointed by President Andrei Duda in December 2024. Tusk's government, which came to power in 2023, has dismissed the current constitutional tribunal as illegitimate, arguing that PIS unlawfully installed judges in defiance of Polish and EU court rulings. Oh my God, EU, that's very important. In his announcement, Svichkovsky stated that he had formally filed a 60-page legal notice on January 31st, in which Tusk and other officials, including the government, ministers, parliamentary speakers, judges, and prosecutors, are accused of forming an organized crime group working to undermine Poland's judiciary. He described the situation as a coup d'etat, end quote, and stated that he sought dialogue with the government, but his request had been ignored. If you, by now, did not figure this racket out, which is democracy, free world, free press, free people, capitalism, if you didn't figure out that all these words are just a matrix for us since infancy, fed to us and our children constantly in order to regiment us, I don't know, you're gonna die dumb, I don't know what to say. This is what it is. When they are telling us about the democratic West and the rest, the barbarians and so on, the West is so democratic when it does what the guys in charge of the West do, which is promote our interest. In this case, Russia, China, and all that. They have their own guys behind them, more or less. In this case, it's just a mirage. If their people don't win in the elections, then we're going to call it not democratically election, democratic process. We're going to call it, I don't know, something else, whatever they dictate with their media, free media, mind you, owned by shareholders, which are the big businesses. It's so easy. And then what did they do? In order to promote their interest, the guys in charge's interest, they call other countries as, hey, you violate this kind of right, that kind of liberty, that kind of this. Therefore, our military would go there after you ignore our sanctions. All right, so, and that's capitalism. And if we can't compete with your products, we're going to impose sanctions on you, and we're going to make you, your companies, illegal in competing with our products on this area or wherever we feel like. Why? Because that's how capitalism works. When I lose, I just ban you, everybody, and then I win. Not it's a free, fair competition, which means my product is better, sold as a better price than yours. The customer, let the customer decide. We have tariffs, we have sanctions, we have bombardments, we have coup d'etats, all this. This is, if you didn't realize that's the way the real world, the free world works, I don't know. I'm not saying this is, let's put it the other way around. It is better than other things. Better. I'm for it. But it's by far from what these guys are portraying it to us and our children, the future generations. It's not like that. It's just a matrix. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.